Welcome back to the Prepping Team channel. I'm your host for today, Shamaya, and today's episode is going to be about a question we get quite often on the Prepping Team, both channel and at the preppingteam@gmail.com email address. It's the question that comes up often is, what's in your bag? So I'm going to do a series of the contents that are in my bag personally. I'm sure the other team members will do the same with their preferences, their must-haves, and they're all around breakdown of their bags. So that's what I'm going to get into today. I'm going to get into what's in my bag. I have a Yukon Outfitters duffel bag style bug out bag. Okay. Yukon Outfitters duffel bag style bug out bag, and I'm gonna do the same. See, I was at a toss-up between my hiking bag because Uziel and Ezra did such a great job on their video about their hiking backpack, their hiking bug out bag, and I've been using this duffel bag for a short time now. I had a hiking prior, but there was something that kind of changed my mind to a duffel bag style, which you see here. And now after Uziel and Ezra did their video, I'm like, should I go back to the hiking bag? So just bear with us, man, because as you prepare your bug out bag, as you prepare your get home bag, it's going to constantly change. Don't think you're gonna have a bag that's just going to sit there. That means your mind isn't on prepping. Why? Because newer, more improved products come out, better versions come out. You might want to upgrade. You should be going through your bag, testing your items to make sure that they work. If you have rechargeable flashlights, you should make sure they're charged in there. If you have, if your water filter sometime is rechargeable, you have to make sure that's working and effective in case that you have to bug out at any point in time, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna go through everything. I am not gonna do a 2-hour video on everything, but what I will do is break it up into segments. So as you see here, you see the outer portion, and this duffel bag style has a handle here. I'll spin it around. It has the back straps. Now, I made mention that I'm considering going back to the hiking because the hiking bag is far more comfortable to wear with a loaded bag than this duffel bag style. Okay, I can't stress that enough. I want to give you all the specs, all the schematics of the pros and cons of anything that we have to maybe save you a couple of dollars. You know, after certain reviews, I'll do a bag review separately, but I just want to talk about it briefly. So the bag, I do love the bag. If I remember, this is a 45 liter bag, 45 liter. My hiking bag was 65 liters, so it had a little more space. But what I didn't care for too much was the tubular style of looking down into your bag, shifting around to get everything. That's just me. But the hiking bag is far more comfortable to wear because it has a breathable back, it has more comfortable back straps. So for a longer distance, the hiking bag, hands down. That's why I said I'm considering it. But the duffel bag style is, you know, it has 2 handles. You can put down, pick up, carry this way if you want to. Has the handle on the top, as well as it has a singular shoulder harness as well, along with the back straps. So it has its pros, has its cons, and something that what you can do too is in this pouch, can put some soft body armor in there as well if it's not going to weigh too much in your bag already. So this has some pros, some cons, but we're going to do a segment on what's in your bag. let's get started with the first thing on the list. The first thing on the list is shelter. Shelter is very important, and I put it at the top of the list for a very important reason. If you don't have the means to create your own shelter, the know-how to create your own shelter, it can allow you to get very sick because of inclement weather, the constant rain. It's easy to get pneumonia and all other ailments because you don't have adequate shelter. Shelter is going to be your number one priority, okay? Or at least number one or number two priority, but it's usually up there between number one and number two as far as priority goes. So you definitely want to make sure that that's in place. So if you have the skill set and know-how of how to build shelter, then by all means, you don't have to carry it. So that's less weight on your back. But if you're someone who just wants something to set up, quickly, while whether it be camping, backpacking, or just, hunting, things of that nature, a hunting pack would consist, especially if you're gonna be gone for long periods of time, you're gonna have something very similar to your bug out bag setup, okay? Something very similar. It's of course not as much, but very similar. So there are a few variations here. And I'm gonna tell you a story about this first one that I put up here, which is the OneTigris 2-man Bushcraft tent, right? Then we have the Winterial one-man tent canopy. We also have an emergency tent, which they might call a Bivy. And this is almost like an emergency, it's called a pocket blanket, but I put this here because it's also like a miniature tarp, okay? So I believe it's like a 6x10 tarp where you literally, and it has the ring holes on it that if you have, whether it be nails, you can nail it at an angle. It can be temporary shelter for you, very temporary. It'll protect you from the rain. Now, are you going to be enclosed or be very comfortable? Not so much, but at least it'll be something over your head, especially if you're getting started and it's raining. You might just want to throw this pocket blanket over your head. It's waterproof. It's pretty cool because this Oceas pocket blanket, you use it for your beach vacation with your family. This is like a really good beach blanket. You could throw it down on the sand. You don't have to worry about spills, messes. You can shake it off and you're good to go, right? But it also has the ability to be that tarp. It's very small, or you can have, which I wish I would have, I think my tarp is in the garage. Or you can have regular tarp that you can just set up, over your head, or do it in an A-frame. Same thing as what the Bivy is. A lot of the Bivvies though, they have the space blanket interior that holds warmth in, okay? That's the thing about the Bivy, but you can see the sizes opposed to, a 2-person tent, okay? So we're talking about ounces in comparison to pounds, okay? So here's a funny thing about the OneTigris. The OneTigris is a 2-person bushcraft tent. Now I like it, but here's what happened. I purchased this tent and without knowing that the poles were separate. Dun, 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 dun. So the first time I used it, I took it out and I'm like, man, I'm ready to go. Now here's the good thing about this, and that's why I'm going to recommend it. The poles, you'll need to have a secure A-frame, right? Secure A-frame, no problem. And also for your awning cover, right? But here's the kicker. This tent has the ability to just be tied up. It already has the cordage on the tent itself. You can tie it from tree to tree, like you would a hammock or something along those lines. You can tie it from tree to tree. Now, is the A-frame as strong as it was without the poles? No. You tie it off as you would, a tarp. You would tie up a tarp, but it serves the same purpose. It provided shelter. I was able to sleep in it even without the poles. So if the poles, the additional 1.9 pounds, the poles add, or let's say 2 pounds. 2 pounds the pole add is too much. Technically, you don't need it with the OneTigris 2-man Bushcraft shelter, okay? Which is pretty cool, which I've used and it's great. Now the Winterial is a canopy style, sleeping bag style tent, okay? It's literally just for one person. So if it's, you know, a husband and a wife, you know, y'all bugging out, guess what? If you have the OneTigris, you don't need to carry multiple forms of shelter, okay? And again, this is something for rehearsal practices. You should be rehearsing what it's like to go out into the elements and set up a smaller tent, okay? Some people that go camping, they usually have the big family size tents. Okay, how would we get by if we only have a 2-man tent and you have 2 small children? You know, how does that sleeping arrangement work? You should do these things. Both, it's fun. I know the kids will enjoy it. And it's for you as parents, as guardians, for your know-how. Again, you don't want to be in a SHTF situation and you're trying to figure things out. By all means, bugging out is your last resort, because you should preferably bug in. You should preferably bug in and fortify your home, secure your home. But there's a time when it's gonna be too hard out there where you have to eventually leave your home. And you want all of those things that give you a little bit of comfortability where you can leave the home, but yet take a lot of the comforts with you that'll allow you to do well out in the elements, okay? So getting to be able, the ability to use those things prior to the SHTF, then the better off you'll be, okay? And back to this emergency tent or TAC Bivy, it has an emergency whistle on it. I'm not sure if at that time you'll want someone to actually know your location, but it may just be to gain someone's attention. Little things like that make a difference. Also, the cordage you can use for fire starting purposes. But again, the Winterial 1-man canopy tent, it's roughly about 2 pounds as is, a little over 2 pounds as is. And it's pretty much a sleeping bag with a canopy over it. Not a sleeping bag, but a sleeping bag style tent, meaning one body goes inside. It has the covering, the flex poles are with it to keep the tent off of your face, which is pretty cool, because we've been there where you don't have those flex poles and you're breathing in the tent. It's like, so you suffocate yourself. It's not fun, not fun. And the prepping team is giving you all this information because we've gone through a lot of trial and error and made a lot of mistakes, and are bringing you, you know, what we have found to be the best methods, okay? They may not be the methods you choose, but again, you can save a few bucks instead of buying a lot of the wrong products. And you know, we're here to help you make better choices, and we highly encourage you to test these products out. Don't just have them sitting attached to your bag and never use them, all right? So you have 4 different types here, or you can go straight Bushcraft, cut down a few elephant ears, plants, or palm leaves, or you know, those bigger style plants, and get some moss and cut down some thick branches and make your own shelter, which is perfectly fine. You know, I wish that's something I could be very proficient in and doing it in a certain time frame. Yes, I'll get it done, but it may take me a little while because the bones don't work and the muscles don't work like they used to. But nevertheless, whichever you prefer, you should become proficient in it, whether it be setting up these smaller versions like the TAC Bivy, or the pocket blanket as shelter, or the Winterial, the OneTigris, whichever one you choose, make sure you learn how to use it, all right? So let's move on to the next. All right, so the next on the list is fire and cooking, okay? Fire and cooking. So I'm just gonna place a couple of things on the table here. And you see this green container here. This is the Seahorse. The first time I saw anything like this was when I went jet skiing. And inside of the compartment on the jet ski, they had a case a little bigger than this that you can put your phone and your valuables in. And obviously it's waterproof, and you can see the hole here. It was attached to a sling cord on the jet ski. So if the jet ski flipped over, you would be able to, this would still be attached to the jet ski. Your phone would be dry, your key fob or your keys would be dry, anything that you placed into the box. And I always found that very interesting. And it also has lockability on it as well. It comes with a little key, you can lock it. But I like this, oh, it's not locked. I like this because, we like to think we control the elements that will be in with our bug out bag. You may have to go through water. It may be torrential rain, right? A monsoon, and it'll soak everything. That brings me to another thought, but I'll do that one next. So I do have multiple ways to start a fire, but mainly I wanted the ability to protect it, okay? The ability to protect it. So you can see here, I have multiple fire starting products in my Seahorse waterproof case. Now in here, I have two regular big style lighters, filled with fuel. I know this is kind of overkill, but I do have storm matches, which is also in a waterproof casing, but it doesn't protect the striker. Okay, there's tinder inside or cotton, but there's an extra striker inside that if elements were to get to the outside and damage the striker on the outer portion of the storm matches, I would still have a fresh one inside that wasn't damaged. But keeping it in the Seahorse case, I don't have to worry about that outer portion being damaged, right? And it comes with, these are the matches that it comes with. Tinder on the inside of the cap. You can probably stick a little bit more in there to help start a fire, but it comes with that. You could probably put a little Vaseline on it for slow burn purposes. But this is the UCO storm matches, okay? You'll see these everywhere. I also have, and on the roof of the Seahorse is a little rubberized, what do you call this? Like a netting, rubberized netting compartment that I do have a little more, this is dryer lint that I keep in there also for fire starting purposes, and also a piece of aluminum foil that I keep in here as well. Now, this is if you're trying to start a fire on moist or wet ground. It's gonna be very hard to do. So this is to place down on the wet ground. You can put your tinder, your dried whatever you can find that has been dried out, some dried twigs. Get the fire started here because this is gonna be on the wet ground. So you don't have to worry about your matches or your fire starting or your tinder getting damp, okay? So I kind of keep that behind that little compartment there. Keep it tucked away, again, with a little extra, read all about it. Little dryer lint back there. Just to get it going, Sometimes you need that a little additional help, I know some bushcrafters have the ability to call down lightning to strike and start their fire. I haven't gotten there yet. The Lord hasn't given me that gift. And of course, we have a flint striker as well in here. And what I like is it has a little compass on it, so it's dual purpose. You have the cordage has, this 550 cord has tinder in it for you to start a fire as well. So within the Seahorse case, remember I have the storm matches, regular lighter, have the striker, flint striker, which also has a whistle on it. I forgot about that. And then I also have, what I do keep is 3 tea candles in there as well. Just regular candles, nothing spectacular about it, but I just keep 3 in there. Again, for its emergency purposes, right? Now, are 3 candles going to last throughout an apocalypse? Come on, let's be serious. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But again, it'll allow you a slight bit of, I guess, a level of comfortability for a short time, right? Because again, eventually everything we have in our bags will run out, will grow old, will break, and we have to, you know, we're gonna have to find other means. But for now, we can, you know, utilize what we have in order until we better ourselves in by other means, all right? Or some other means are provided, right? So that's what I keep inside of the seahorse, right? Put this back, try to put it back the way I had it. You know, once you get something packed in, you never really get it back the way it was, right? But I'll fix that later. But that's what I keep in the seahorse, and I put it in this case, I put it inside of this case so it can remain dry. It can remain dry. So again, something happens, I can grab. There's a few items that I have that are just grab and go. This is one of them. The seahorse is one of those things that I'll just grab and go, as well as which I'll get into, is my utility pouch. Oh, actually, no, I have it here. I'll go over here because it has fire starting things in there as well. And then lastly, for that fire starting is the SOL plasma. Let me get this open. Plasma lighter, okay? So it's pretty cool. It's already, I don't have to keep it in the seahorse because it's already in a waterproof case. And besides, I have no more room in my seahorse case. Otherwise, I would put it in there. But I really like this plasma lighter. It's charged by a USB port. So when I go into the lighting as well, I'll show you some options because there'll be little items like this that it's not battery operated. You know, you have, you know, if your cell phone is still in use, well, maybe not in use for communication, but you'll have the ability to, you know what, it should have been 11 things. Communication. Darn it. We'll keep it at 10 for now. But there are a few things that you would be able to use to charge those. There are a few things that are small devices like this that need something to charge them. They're not battery operated, they're not solar, but that solar power you can use to charge these small devices. And this is one of those things, this plasma lighter. So I just like messing with it because it's like super cool. It reminds me of like when we were young, we had that crystal ball that had the electricity in it. So it has a flip top already, again, waterproof, has a little power switch. Then when you press it, I think that's super cool. It's like a taser. It looks like a taser, but what it does is it ignites tinder, it ignites cotton, it ignites, you know, whatever you have, which this cordage can be lit as well. Once you expose, you clip the wax ends off and you expose the insides of the cordage, it can be lit to start a fire as well. So I keep that attached, right? And when you close this, you put the airtight seal on it so no water can get in, and you then use the same power button to turn it on. What it turns into is a 100-watt flashlight. But in a very dark situation, it will definitely help you to see, okay? So I really like this SOL plasma lighter because, you know, it's waterproof, like I said, and, you know, it's pretty handy. You can just keep it in your pocket and not have to actually store it anywhere. We'll move on to the G4, this G4 free camping stove. So you have all of the means to, and listen, this thing is super light. It's making a lot of noise. I know it's probably picked up on the microphone, but it is super light. We're talking about ounces. In comparison to my last camping stove, because the other was more like a stove top. Of course, that's gonna be heavy. But I also had a backpack camping stove that was like 4 times the weight of this. You know, you can see the how thin this is, and it's super, super light. It's easy to put together. I really like it, you know, to the point where got it again. Just place the grill on top if you want to grill something, but you have the X's you can just put down into the grooves. Into the grooves, upside down, of course. Make sure grate on top. You can put your coffee. You feed your sticks through on the bottom. You have the bottom plate. Keep the fire going. I mean, I really like it because it's sturdy, it's lightweight. Again, to the point where, you know, to buy it multiple times, you know, easy takedown. You know, I have nothing but good things to say. Again, because, man, I gotta stop banging it like that. Because coming from the camp stoves that I had prior, you know, when you finally buy something that you like, it's like, oh Lord, why did I spend money on that last thing? And again, this is what the Prepping Team channel is about. It's about saving you a couple dollars because we've made a lot of mistakes you know, of our own, and we're trying to help you all not to make those same mistakes, right? And then lastly for this segment, the TREKYR cooking stove. Now, I haven't personally used this one yet. I still used my own, which is very similar, but I had like a full kitchen. It had like 3 pots and utensils and cutting board. And again, over time, why did I put the stove away? This should have sat on top of the stove to boil water. This on top to make stews, things of that nature. It's also for you to strain as well. So if you're boiling water, if you scoop some water, you're boiling some things, you know, you're able to strain somewhat any type of large debris that might be in there. You can just pour it out. When you're making teas, you know, if you're medicinal purposes, the leaves and things will stay inside while you just pour the liquid out, which is pretty cool. And it's a lot more compact than my last. So I haven't actually used this one yet, but I'm actually looking forward to it because my last camping trip was canceled because some other things came up and I had to take that took priority. So but I do have some camping trips coming up soon that I'll be able to utilize them. And then in here is just the clinic utensils that I keep wrapped in paper towel. And, you know, because you just might need some paper towel. And it's just fork, knife, and spoon, all secured in one. And I have multiples of them. But you can use them to cook, to eat. The knives are pretty, you know, are sharp. You should have a sharpener that sharpens teeth like blades like this, but it has the can opener on it as well. And all of that goes with the fire and cooking utensils. And last but not least, my utility pouch that also has fire in there. You know what, I'll save this for the utility, that's fine. But that's everything for the cooking and the fire starting portion. So stay tuned for the next portion. This was, again, a 2-piece foldable outdoor cookware set. It's also vented. It's 24 ounces. The cooking stove was something like 16 ounces or something like that. But, you know, no, the usage is 16 ounces, but the weight is just under 20 ounces. So it's pretty cool. And yeah.